Hello, how are you? By popular request, today I brought you a recipe for a savory cracker, and you're going to love it. No wheat flour, gluten-free, low in carbs, delicious, super flavorful. You're going to love it because it's so easy to make. Stick around until the end, you won't want to miss it. If you love easy, quick, and healthy recipes, you're going to love this channel. Take the opportunity to subscribe here, and if you're new, welcome. There are new videos every day, and you're going to love them. Remember to turn on the notification bell so you get all the updates. And when you make this delicious recipe, leave your comment. I'll check it out and leave some hearts, which I love to do. So let's get started with our recipe. Just a reminder, there aren't many ingredients, but all of them will be listed below in the description, along with the quantities and nutritional information too. Calories, carbs, everything you love. So the first thing, we're going to do 2 quick steps here in our recipe, where I'll heat up and melt a few things to mix them together. The first thing I have here is light mozzarella cheese. I'm going to mix it with other cheeses, so now I'll add the cream cheese. Remember, I have a video here on the channel showing how to make homemade cream cheese, my own cream cheese recipe right here on the channel. And I'll leave it down below in the description for you, so if you want to use my recipe and make it more natural, you can do that. But if you prefer a store-bought one, look for a good quality brand with fewer ingredients. Always check the ingredient list so you don't get fooled, because sometimes there's starch in it. So that's a detail you should watch out for. So I have a video here on the channel that talks more about how not to be misled by food labels, and I'll leave it down below to help you out. And I also have other really cool videos about the low-carb diet, a low-carb diet playlist, affordable low-carb, healthy low-carb for the medium and long-term. I'll leave all of that down below in the description for you. I'm going to add a bit more cheese here, Parmesan cheese, which will already add some seasoning. So you saw that I first used the more elastic cheese, which was mozzarella, then the cream cheese, which is moister, and now the Parmesan, which is a drier cheese. So if you want to substitute this Parmesan with grana padano or another drier cheese, that's fine. And if you love these low-carb food and snack recipes, go ahead and leave your like, and I'll come back and make more recipes like this for you, more cool ideas. And finally, I'm going to add the nut flour here. You can choose whichever you like. Almond flour, peanut flour, as long as it's not roasted. Because when the peanuts aren't roasted and we make flour from them, they have a really neutral flavor, and it tastes a lot like almond flour, only much cheaper. So it can be an interesting option. Remember that I have a video here on the channel talking more about different low-carb flours. I'll leave it down below in the description for you. And there's a really cool video talking more about almond flour and peanut flour since they're very similar. I'll leave those videos down below in the description as well. You can see it's mixed together nicely now. So we're going to melt this next. I'll put it in the microwave for 30 seconds to 1 minute. I'll be right back to tell you how long it took and to show you what the consistency should look like. I'll be right back because we still have a bit more to mix in, and then it's just a matter of baking. Look, I've already melted it. It took 1 minute and 10 seconds in my microwave, but that will depend on your microwave, its power, and so on. It should look like this, a unified paste, but it can't be too hot now because I'm going to mix in the egg. If it's too hot, it'll turn into scrambled eggs, and that's not what we want. I'm going to add the seasonings now, right away, to mix everything together. I'll add the fresh rosemary, which is wonderful, and a bit of salt. Add salt to taste. See if you need it in your recipe, because if your cream cheese is store-bought, it will already have salt, and the Parmesan and mozzarella also have salt. So check if you need it or not, according to your taste and the ingredients you used, whether they had more or less salt. Now we're going to mix all of this together really well until everything is thoroughly combined, and I'll be right back to let you know. If you want to use your hands to mix this, you can do that too. See what you find easier to do? My spatula is pretty firm, so it actually works really well for mixing. But if you prefer to use your hands, that's totally fine too. The important thing is that everything gets really well mixed. So hang on, I'll be right back. Look, so I've finished. I've made our dough here. And now I've got the baking tray. I put one of these papers on it, parchment paper, the kind you can use in the oven. I'm going to put the dough right here in the middle. Look, I had this idea, and I think it's going to be a good one. Later, let me know if you end up doing it this way or not. And I'm going to take another piece of the same paper. Actually, I'll put it on top and roll it out, because that makes it easier. First, let's just use our hands like this to flatten it a bit. Then we'll use the rolling pin. Let me turn it around here. It's easier this way. So, look, we use the rolling pin like this to roll it out until it's a reasonably thin layer here. I think this will be easier than taking it out, putting it somewhere else, and rolling it out again. Look, we do it like this to make it as smooth as possible. Let me know later what seasoning you're going to use. Are you going to add rosemary or not? You could also use oregano. What would you use? You always have such interesting ideas. I love seeing your tips and suggestions. Look, we keep rolling it out like this and I'll be right back. I'm going to try to tidy up the size here and make it more symmetrical, so hold on a second. Look, I'm done. What I did here is also an interesting tip. You saw it was round, and we just take a bit from one side, cut here, put it there, and smooth it out to make it work. Now I'm going to make some markings, which will make it easier to break them apart after we bake them when it's time to break the crackers. So I'll do it like this, more or less. And I think I'll make 2 more here like this. One cut here and another cut over here. It doesn't necessarily have to be perfectly symmetrical, as its primary purpose is simply to provide assistance later on after baking. So I'm going to cut this one first to remove this edge, which usually doesn't look as nice. And now I'll leave about a 2-finger space here, so they'll be about the size of a regular cracker. And then we're going to take this to bake in the oven at 360 degrees. When I come back, I'll show you how it turned out, how long it took, and what the texture of the cracker is like. So hang on, I'll be right back. So it took 30 minutes in my oven for these treats to be ready. You saw that I waited for them to cool before opening and cutting them here, but it might take more or less time in your oven. The most important thing is that they reach this color here, which shows that they're nice and crispy. And what's cool, and what I like to show, is that since we made those markings earlier, look how easy it is now to separate them. They all come out in that size, because if you tried to do this now, sometimes they get a bit crumbly, it doesn't turn out as nice. When you do it beforehand like this, it's easier. So I'm going to separate all of them here and try one. Hold on, I'll be right back. Remember that to go along with this delicious treat, I have my entire playlist here of cheeses, spreads, and pâtés with lots of tasty ideas. There are so many delicious recipes that I can't even remember them all. So go watch it, you'll love it, and you'll definitely get some ideas. But honestly, even on its own, it's already amazing. Make it and let me know what you think afterwards. Share this recipe with someone you know will like it, with someone who needs it, and don't forget to give it a like because that helps me too. Now let's give it a try. Wonderful. So tasty. Make it, you're going to love it. See you next time. Bye.